Hello and welcome. I am so excited to be here with you today. I am going to be talking about staying young. It's not an option, but how you age is up to you. We're going to address the mysteries of menopause and the four key things you need to know in order to age gracefully. So, what we're going to discuss, we cannot discuss aging without first talking about menopause, understanding it just a little bit and what is involved. And then we're going to deal with the four key things to address a smoother transition and what you can do about it. Well, my journey. I am Delsina West, your wellness practitioner. I have a master's degree in science, specializing in exercise physiology, and I'm a wellness practitioner. What does that mean? Well, as a wellness practitioner, I'm trained in 6 dimensions of wellness: intellectual, occupational, spiritual, social, emotional, and physical. I'm a retired Army captain of 26 years and a master nutrition coach. But you know what? Those are not the things that make me qualified to speak to you today. What does is the fact that I have been there where you are. Let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I have been suffering with perimenopausal symptoms for many years. I now know that's what they were because of my studies in this area. But for years, I spoke with doctor upon doctor upon doctor about my various symptoms, specifically ones where I would develop ovarian cysts and they would erupt with so much pain that I would pass out. Also, I was suffering from excessive bleeding, long periods, short periods, heavy periods. It was a hassle. Some of you all, I'm sure, understand what that is like. Well, after years of suffering, I was visiting with one of my OBGYNs to go over this same exact problem, and this time I got his attention. Why? Because one of those cysts erupted in his office and I passed out from the pain. That got his attention immediately. Took me to the emergency room, took care of me, found out I had a cyst the size of a grapefruit, and that was all she wrote. I started my menopausal journey and treatment for that. But it shouldn't take having to go through something so drastic in order for us to get the kind of care that we need. We know our bodies better than anyone else. So many women, today look at menopause as, getting old is the beginning of hot flashes and night sweats. But menopause is not a phase per se. It's more like a transitional moment when it separates us from menstruation to not having menstruation. So menopause itself is just one moment in time. So when I stopped having periods, that was considered menopause. You have had to have gone 12 consecutive months without a period. And that's when you actually reach menopause. For some people, it's somewhere between the age of 46 and 56. And for many people, this marks the beginning of mood swings, hot flashes, sleep issues, vaginal dryness, and yes, that dreaded midsection weight gain. You know how you are experiencing it. And so you say, well, how do I know I'm experiencing perimenopause? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So there are several symptoms, as you see by this chart, that are associated with perimenopause, the menopause phase, and postmenopause. Now, why these things start to happen is estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, along with several other hormones, are key in changing and maintaining our balance. When we are before perimenopause, these hormones work perfectly in sync. Everything is balanced. Everything is running along smoothly. We're not having any major issues. The only thing different in our lives is we're going through our regular monthly menstrual cycle and life is going good. But as we become more mature women, our bodies realize, hey, we need to start to shut down this baby making factory. And so we've got to change a few things. We've got to come in there, move things out, move them around. And that's when you start to feel those symptoms. Now your hormones are all over the place. So you're having menstrual irregularities. You become heavier or lighter. You're going to experience hot flashes, night sweats, because they balance your body's thermostat. Mood swings. You're going to be more irritable than usual. All of a sudden, things annoy you to no end. Sex can become more painful because of vaginal dryness, and it's harder to stay asleep and even go to sleep. Weight gain, like we talked about, especially in the middle. I described that feeling of feeling like a sausage in dresses that I used to wear with no problems. Your energy levels start to get low, your hair starts to thin, nails get brittle. Yes, hair is growing in unwanted places, especially in your chinny chin chins. Bone loss, sarcopenia with loss of muscles, joint pain, libido, and fatigue. These are a lot of symptoms that sometimes, if you don't realize that they're part of the perimenopausal process, you might think something is terribly wrong with you. It is not a disease. It is just those changes in hormones. And our bodies are just trying to tell us we're going under construction, and so there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. So you're not, and men and the general population in general used to think of menopause as some sort of disease or illness that was affecting us, but it is not. And we know that today more and more as we learn more about menopause and all the different changes and transitions that our bodies go through. We understand and we're taught from our OBGYN, our doctors, our physicians about puberty, right? We were taught about what to expect with menstruation. They didn't just let it happen to us by accident. We were taught about having children. I remember that book that was out there that said what to expect when having children, so that if you knew what to expect, you knew what you could do about it, right? You knew what resources were available. You knew what options you have. Well, when it comes to menopause, it seemed like there was a break in information. Science, money, time, research wasn't spent that much on understanding menopause and all the things that happen with it. So our well-meaning doctors basically said, well, it's part of life. You're going to have hot flashes and mood swings, and yeah, so just deal with it. So basically, they just left us out to dry for the most part. You know, we go through the womanhood and the transition, and we go through all our distinct phases, and we have we become moms, and then we become grandmothers, and we're, as grandmothers, they expect us to just wait to have another motherhood opportunity by taking care of children. And so without any additional information, we're just left out there in the desert to dry and wither away because that's just how it is. But that is not fair. We deserve more, and we have more options, and we have more knowledge, and we know that this is not the end of our story. Our story is much greater than that. Our story is one of vibrancy, resilience, growth, determination, careers. And so in order to address those, we have 4 key things that we need to pay attention to in order to age gracefully. Those 4 key things are mindset, nutrition, exercise, and supplementation or hormone replacement therapy, if you so choose. First, let's talk about mindset. You are attending the Empowering Women's Conference because you want to do bigger and better things. You want to be a change maker. You want to make an impact. You want to reach new heights in your career and your community. So you're familiar with success-driven mindset. You're familiar with changing how you think and how you behave in order to reach a certain goal, right? But what about the mindset that transcends our outdated ideas about getting older? What is that supposed to be? This is where we have to start looking inward and understanding that it's up to us to change that mindset, to understand that transitional period so that we can better adapt as it comes through. So here's a few things that we need to look into. Instead of going from thinking that menopausal transition is about being old, no, it's about being wise. You've got wisdom, you have knowledge, you have patience, you have empathy, you have the ability to understand situations that you never had before. This is a great opportunity. You could not get this at 18 or 20 or even 30. This age is an age of wisdom. Instead of being blah or being put out the pasture or someone who just doesn't have much to give, this is a time for you to be sexy, spicy, confident, self-assured, moving with purpose. Instead of the term of being used, you're experienced, you're seasoned, just like a fine wine or a great steak. Nobody wants to eat a blah steak or a wine that tastes like vinegar. No, it needs time, it needs curing, and that's exactly where we are. We are perfectly cured and perfectly timed with the experience to go along with it. Instead of thinking about us being slow, we are now going at our own pace. We're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. As a matter of fact, we could care less who the Joneses are because it's about where we're headed. Instead of focusing on people pleasing, this is a time for us to focus on what brings you joy. We have lived a majority of our life behind us. Now, with the years that we have ahead of us, we need to be purposeful in seeking and doing things that bring us joy so that our lives are fulfilling. And low sexual desire because we get older and we already had kids, there's no need for that. Ha! I beg to differ. This is a time for us to focus on sensual satisfaction. And it doesn't all have to do with sex, but things that arouse us and that get us excited and that get us to just have all of our senses engaged. And instead of being unhealthy, as we get older and in our years past, we've seen as women, past childbearing age, they would just let themselves go and not think about it or care about how we look, how we are healthy. But in this age, being strong and fit is not about being in a size 2 or size 4. It's about physical strength that is active and energetic and energized and ready to tackle each day. It's about being strong and fit. This is the mindset that we need to have today and every day in order to live the rest of our lives, making it the best of our lives. Now, nutrition. Nutrition is not about dieting, ladies. No more dieting. Dieting is a short-term process that has no lasting effect. This is not the time to take things away or take things out of your nutrition, because that's deprivation. This is a time to think about eating in a way that supports your health and fitness and your lifelong strategy. It's about thinking about what can I add to my daily intake of food that will support my goals. Think about that. It's about what you can add to support your health and fitness and your lifelong strategy. So let's talk about a few of those things. The 4 key things that are vital to our aging process are healthy fats, fiber, protein, and antioxidant-rich foods. Yes, these are the regular food chart. It's not necessarily where we should be focusing. These are the things that are key, critical to aging women. So let's talk about fats. These are the type of things that we need to include in our diets on a daily basis. They're going to help decrease inflammation. They're going to help us to regulate our fat stores. They're going to help to reduce pain. They're going to balance our estrogen, progesterone, and cortisol. And so we need to be having omega-3 fatty acids through salmon, sardines, walnuts, flax seeds. You can just grab a handful of walnuts every day and you're getting your omega-3 fatty acids. It's that simple. You can get your monounsaturated fats from avocados, oils, extra virgin olive oil. If you cook with extra virgin olive oil every day, you're getting your monounsaturated fats. Coconut oils and MCT oils help to support health, brain health, and your metabolism. And then eggs will provide cholesterol, which is an important part in the building blocks for our hormones. Next one is our fiber. We need to get more fiber. Our gut starts talking to us a lot more in this stage in our life. And so fiber is going to help us to balance if we have an excess estrogen ratio because of the decrease in progesterone and hormone. It's going to reduce the risk of estrogen dominance. It's going to reduce bloating weight gain, and mood swings. And we all are concerned with that, right? So the best sources for these are your cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale. Those things are going to help the liver to metabolize excess estrogen if that's in your system. Flax seeds, they're rich in lignans, which support estrogen balance. Chia seeds, they're high in fiber, omega-3s, protein, and they're good for your gut and hormone health. And legumes like chickpeas, black beans, they're good for your blood sugar stability. We should be trying to get 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day. Most Americans barely get 5 to 10 grams of fiber per day. And look, if you were to make yourself a nice big bowl of salad with kale and with spinach and broccoli, throw in some flax seeds, sprinkle some cinnamon, some chia seeds on there, and throw in some chickpeas, boom, you've got a good, healthy fiber bowl in one meal. See, you can do it. You can do it. The next one is our protein sources. I coach so many women who do not get enough healthy, lean protein sources. And I'm not talking about fried chicken from Popeyes or, deep fried catfish or anything like that. We're talking about good, lean sources of protein because as our estrogen declines, our muscle mass naturally decreases. That's when we get those wiggly, shaky arms, and we have what you call them chicken wings, and your legs start looking a little weird. You've got so much more wrinkles going on. We need muscle for strength and energy and fitness. Protein is going to help us to maintain that lean muscle mass and boost our metabolism and prevent our blood sugar from crashing. So you need to get those from good, healthy proteins like grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, salmon, mackerel, and tuna. Those are high in omega-3s and protein. Organic poultry, those that have been cage-free, pasture-raised are the best sources. Plant proteins, there's an abundance of those. You can keep these in your pantry in canned goods all the time. Lentils, quinoa, chickpeas, tofu, that's a refrigerated food. But our daily goal should be about 20 to 30 grams per day. What does that look like? It looks like the palm of your hand. The inside palm of your hand is a portion of lean protein. And you should be having that with each meal. And if you can't have it with each meal, try to have it at least once or twice a day. This is critical for our health to support our metabolism and hormone production. Another one is antioxidant-rich foods. These are going to combat oxidative stress, which is one of these critical processes in early aging. Think about when you take a bite of an apple and you put it down on the counter, it starts to get brown. Well, the oxygen that is attacking it is decreasing its tissues, and that is the oxidative stress that is happening at our cellular level. When you eat foods that are high in antioxidants, it helps to combat that degenerative process. So, for example, all types of berries, cherries. This season of the cherry season, I just gorged on a cup or more of cherries every single day. They are high in fiber, rich in antioxidants, and just so delicious. But you've got to have it at your place of living, and you got to have it in your system. Dark leafy greens, like we talked about, dark chocolate. Oh, that is so good. But with dark chocolate, one of the things we have to look out for is make sure that it's 85% cocoa or higher to get the most value. Milk chocolate is delicious, but it's not going to get you the flavonoids that you are looking for in dark chocolate. Some of the dark leafy greens I'm talking about are like spinach, kale, Swiss chard. They're really rich in vitamin A, C, and K. And then green tea. Drink a few cups of green tea throughout the day. They're going to support your metabolism, reduce stress related with cortisol spikes. And just the act of drinking a cup of tea decreases stress. Why? Because you have to wait. You have to be patient to let the tea seep and let the steam go off and then take a sip of it. You just think about this act of drinking tea. It is a process of patience and is a process that helps with decrease stress. Try it. I think you'll like it. And then the next one that we need to talk about is our physical activity. Listen, when we were kids, we moved because it was fun, right? And when we were in our 20s or 30s, we moved because we wanted to. Hey, now if you're over 40, you should be moving because you need to, unless you're happy with the alternative of having a unfit lifestyle. Movement is critical to maintaining lean muscle mass, having more energy, being more active, and living the life you want to live. Movement is critical. So what are the 4 pillars of fitness or movement? Strength training, cardiovascular training, flexibility, and balance. Yes, don't think about this like you have to have a whole entire workout based on each one of these. No, you need to find something that you're willing to do on a regular basis. And when I say regular, we want to do it like maybe 3 or 4 times a week. If you can do it every day, that's great. But 3 to 4 times a week, some sort of physical activity that's going to involve using your muscles, breathing heavy for a little bit, taking in a lot of oxygen, and creating balance and support. You'll notice that as you get older, your balance and flexibility are kind of going out the door. And you want to maintain that for better movement. Movement is the key to maintaining muscle strength and overall vitality during menopause. And strength training helps you to boost your metabolism and preserve that muscle mass. You don't want to be a weak old lady. No, you don't have to be. You can be like my grandma at 97, catching an Uber and going shopping to Walmart and getting up every morning and cooking her food. She had a workout program that I gave her. She did every day to her level. Everybody has access to doing some sort of physical activity. Walking is cardio and somewhat weight bearing. Don't tell me you can't do it. If you don't have time for physical activity, for exercise, you don't have time to live a healthy life. You're basically saying you can care less. You're ready to just become a feeble old woman and just throw in the hat. Look at this. We all have choices. Lack of exercise ages us so rapidly. You have the opportunity and the ability to prevent chronic diseases, immobility, decrease mental health issues and well-being just by being more physically active. Telling me that you don't have time is an untruth because we all have the same 24 hours. Now look, unless you are a young mother with 3 toddlers, working a full-time job, working on your master's degree, and not having a partner, you have time. The easiest way to include it if you have a super busy schedule is to make 15-minute earlier schedule in your day. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, go to bed 15 minutes earlier so that you can have some time to devote to yourself. You're important, right? You're valuable, right? You say that you are a woman of worth. If you are a woman of worth, then a woman of worth takes care of herself. A facial is great, but a facial is not going to keep the wrinkles away and keep you strong and keep you fit. A facial is nice, but it's not going to preserve your muscle mass and improve your metabolism. If you can take time to do those things, you can take time to have an extra 15 minutes a day to get up early and do some sort of physical activity in your house, outside, or in the gym. And it doesn't even have to be in the gym. You have time. You just have to make it a priority. You have to change your mindset, like we talked about at the beginning, in order to see these types of changes and benefit from it. All right? Okay, I beat that horse down. These things that I've talked about, nutrition, exercise, mindset, are going to improve your stress. And Lord knows we have a lot of stress in this day and age because we're managing so much. But by doing exercise, it's going to increase your ability to take deep breaths, reduce your stress, improve your mental clarity, and promote relaxation. When I have a stressful day in my office and I'm stuck in something that's really annoying, I get up immediately and walk outside. I just go. I don't know how long I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, but I go outside, look up into the sun and into the clouds or whatever, take a deep breath, and it shifts my focus. You should really try it. And just those type of little things, making them consistent. You know, you can try massage and acupuncture. It'll aid in circulation. Or find a creative outlet. And these creative outlets can be part physical, emotional, mental, gardening, dancing. Challenge your stress and difficulties into these types of activities. Believe me, it is important. It's not a luxury and it's not a nice to have. In this stage of our life, it is a critical part of aging well, aging gracefully. Now, let's finally talk about hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy got a terrible rap in the early 2000s, and that's because of a study that was done by an organization for women's health that prescribed hormone therapy to women who were postmenopausal. And because they were postmenopausal, HRT affected them in a negative way. It created higher risks of heart disease and higher risk of breast cancer. It was the Women's Health Initiative of 2002. And that information or those findings, they just blew out of the storm. It was headlines everywhere, and all of a sudden, HRT became a bad thing. When previously hormone therapy was greatly being used for women perimenopause up to through menopause with much success. But now, after that study came out, they went back and looked through their formulas and realized there were some errors in the study and the misconceptions that were outdated and sexist. So now, with better information, more knowledge, and getting away from those sexist campaigns about women and aging, we realized that hormone therapy is very, very good, ideal, and optional for symptoms of hot flashes, night sweats, and additional hormone change therapies. But it's very important that you speak to your doctor. And if your doctor is not familiar with it, ask him for a referral for a hormone specialist. Look for someone who specializes in menopausal treatment for women. And get information about bioidentical hormone therapy or other types of hormones that you can have to help ease your symptoms. This is not a time to grin and bear it. This is a time to take action and relieve symptoms. Now, there are other things that can relieve your symptoms through supplementation. So let's talk about this. We mentioned a little bit earlier about omega-3s. If you eat your omega-3s through fatty fishes and oils, you don't have to necessarily supplement, right? But if you can't, you can supplement with omega-3 fatty acids. It's known that a lot of women, as we get older, especially minority women, are low in vitamin D and calcium. So you may want to supplement with that. But if you eat it in your foods, you don't have to necessarily supplement. These things help to reduce inflammation and promote heart health. If you're having trouble with sleep, magnesium is a great source to help relax muscles, improve your mood, and help with sleep. And then adaptogens. Adaptogens are herbs, plants, and mushrooms that have medicinal properties, such as black cohosh. It's been studied to show that it helps reduce hot flashes and night sweats. Maca root, it supports energy levels and mood stabilities. Now remember, all supplementation, whether it's through natural sources such as adaptogens or vitamins, are individual for each person. Everything is not going to work the same for everyone. So it's important that you speak to your doctor, your physician, to get personalized guide on what is best for you. Now, with all that information, what do you need to do? What can you do today? Well, I want you to start with one small step. More specifically, one small word. One word. If you could think of one word that would describe your older self, maybe 60, 70, 80, or 90, what one or two words would you want to describe yourself at that age? Meaning, how would you want to see yourself? How would you want your life to have gone through when it comes to your health, when it comes to aging? What is that one word? Would it be confident, sexy, strong, active, healthy, happy, stress-free, rested, balanced, feeling self-love, or empowered? If there those words or any other words, what you have to focus on is do the things today that will help you to have that result tomorrow or in the future. If you want to feel healthy, do the things today. Make your mind up that I want to be healthy when I'm older or as I'm aging. And if you want to be healthy as you're aging, then it's time to start thinking about what to add to your nutrition, what kind of physical activity you need to do regularly, what type of stress reduction processes should I take. If you want to live rested, think about what kind of physical activity could I do to improve my ability to rest and feel relaxed and feel strong. If you want to feel strong, start creating your mindset to think, I want to be strong when I get older. I don't want to be a weak, feeble old woman. So what are the things that I need to do? Like Delsina showed me on the slide about physical activity and exercise 3 to 4 times a week. So first think of that future self that you want to have, and then do the thing today in order to get you to that point. Remember, first start with that mindset. Think about where you want to be. Just like it is with empowering yourself in your career. Where do you want to be as you age? Then start focusing on the nutrition that you can add to your current lifestyle. Then start thinking about the exercises that you need to do, not should, you need to do in order to have that mindset that you want. And then if you need to, consider the hormones or supplementation that will help you along your journey. Listen, staying young is not an option, but how you age is definitely up to you. Let's stay connected. You can find me and all the things that a list of a PDF with more details on the nutrition and the supplementation on my website. It is www.delsinawest.com. It's spelled DELSINAWEST.com to get that free download. And I would love it if you bought my book. It's called The Sexy Senior Citizen: How to Stay Sleek, Sexy, and Strong as You Age. It's an anecdotal look at several situations and life changes that I've had and some recommendations on how to overcome them with grace and style as we age. I want to thank you so very much for your time, and I hope to hear and talk to you very soon.